Hey, welcome to Flight Test. I'm Josh, and this is Josh.
Hi.
And today we are using the fabulous technology of Skype to talk to our very good friend and attorney hero, Brendan.
Attorney hero. The reason he's our hero is he's helping us pursue this hobby.
Yeah. So Brendan, you are suing the FAA. What did they do to you? Did they hurt you?
Well, we brought lawsuits on behalf of the AMA, on behalf of COGR, which is a research university association, and a bunch of commercial investors and aerial photographers, including FPV Manuals, which, as you know, makes the Lumineer brand of quadcopters.
Yes. Now, normally, we don't champion lawsuits or anything like that. I don't really like lawsuits, but this is of a very profound truth that we're pursuing to grow, and that's around this hobby, right? What brought this on?
Yeah, so I think this relates to what I spoke to you about on the podcast, in that there was a statute in 2012 that directed the FAA to create regulations concerning unmanned aircraft systems, but specifically excluded recreational model aircraft operators from regulation, instead turning that over to community-based organizations like the AMA. And in the June notice, the FAA purports to implement new rules and regulations concerning hobbyists, things like having to contact air traffic control, not being allowed to be paid for aerobatic demonstrations, and restrictions on FPV.
I gotcha. Now, Brandon, we got an opportunity to fly with you. You are an avid hobbyist, aren't you?
I did. I've been in it for 20 years.
20 years. And let me just say, he's an amazing pilot, and he schooled us pretty good. So,
what's that you have? What's the plane you have behind you?
That's actually the our flight system Spectra. That's the model aircraft used by Texas Equisearch to help find missing people.
Oh, cool.
Really? And has that been successful in the past so far?
Yeah, that plane has been used and has been used to actually spot and identify the locations of the remains of 11 people.
Oh, wow.
Which sounds like a sad ending, but at least it brought closure and answers to the families who are missing their loved ones. And it's also been very useful to help organize the searchers on the ground. So if you can fly over and take just a quick aerial image, you can exclude places to look, or you can send your searchers in a particular direction, and that's the equivalent of 100 people on the ground. So it's extremely useful for that humanitarian organization.
Well, and growing this hobby too inspires people to take this technology to really amazing uses like search and rescue and things like that. So if you kill the hobby, you don't give the people the opportunity to be inspired to do great things with it.
That's really true, and part of what the AMA has said over the past few weeks is to point out how many people who are now in aerospace fields, some of the leaders of those industries like Burt Rutan and others, started off being hobbyists and just experimenting with models on their own free time, and they're now leaders in various technology fields. So it's been a crucial part of the aerospace industry, even though for many of us it's just fun.
Do you think that using all these examples that are benefits for like economic reasons or for safety reasons could sway them to draw a line in the sand and say that it's only permissible for professionals and not for hobbyists?
No, I think the hobbyist category is protected by Congress, and I don't feel like Congress is going to change that. The question will be what does it mean to be a hobbyist? Is that going to be narrowly construed or not? I don't think it was intended to be narrowly construed. I think the commercial applications will really turn on whether we view these technologies as aircraft, that sort of a top-down approach that considers even something like a small blade to be an aircraft with a pilot in command, and you're starting with the premise that this is aviation and we have to take all the regulations and substitute them for something else that's equivalent? Or do we view it as something that's more like a consumer device, especially when it's at low altitudes, and we are putting in place just the regulations that we need to address the actual safety concerns that are posed by these systems? With nobody on board, I think the safety framework is completely different. You can crash, you can lose the thing, and it almost never is a life in jeopardy, which is completely different from the passenger aircraft situation.
So what's where do you see this going? What's your ultimate goals with this lawsuit?
Well, look, I think everybody hopes for some long-term positive outcome here. We're in the midst of a regulatory process, not just for hobbyists, but for the industry as a whole. We also brought suit on behalf of commercial interests as well, and the universities. And I think, at the end of the day, some sensible regulatory approach that balances the real safety concerns about collisions with passenger planes, which is obviously of concern to everyone, with the reality, which is that a lot of these systems are just a few pounds, or in the case of my Blade Nano, which I actually fly around the office sometimes, this is half an ounce. And to regulate this the same way that you might regulate a passenger aircraft just doesn't seem right to me. So I think for the country, the goal is the right fit of regulations and freedom to allow people to have fun and also to get the right benefits out of the technology.
So, Brendan, where do things stand right now? What do you have? Do you have any court dates coming up with this lawsuit, or I really don't know anything?
Well, yeah, the process is not familiar to many people. What we filed a few days ago was really just the start of the process. It gets things going. It's not a full explanation of what our arguments are. There will be a briefing schedule put in place by the court that will probably run through the fall, and sort of stay tuned for the papers that get filed if you want to read along with the legal arguments. Those are things that you'll see. I have a Twitter feed that people are welcome to follow. It's called Drone Laws. So I post information about these kinds of topics, including information about the cases there.
Yep.
Very cool. Well, Brendan, man, we want to thank you for taking the time. I know you're a very busy guy. Thank you for speaking on our behalf, for going on the offensive and trying to protect our rights to pursue this hobby and to grow the hobby.
Hero.
Yeah, he's a hero. Need an American flag.
I'm just doing my job, but I appreciate it. Thank you.
No problem. Hey, keep us posted. And friends, the FAA, there is a comment system that we had in the past.
Mm-hmm.
And the FAA did put an extension on it, but oddly enough, when you go to their website, it doesn't say anything about the extension, but I believe September 25th is the last day you can make your comments heard. And it went from 3,000
to like 30,000.
Like 30,000 comments. So please continue to make your voice heard. The more people that chime in, obviously, the more of a body is speaking out against this.
Right.
Brendan, thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right, want to fly with you again sometime, okay, brother?
Definitely.
All right, take care.
I'll see you.